Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to another Webinar Wednesday hosted by Cal State Bakersfield Small Business Development Center. Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Bearden. I'm the director of the center, and we are here for webinar number 334 on today, February 5th, 2025. We're going to be talking about a lot of government contracting, procurement, acquisition, whatever you want to refer to it as. Got some great programs. We'll be bringing in Josh Howk in a few moments. He is the Business Opportunity Specialist with the U.S. Small Business Administration. And we have a special guest for you today. So stay tuned for a few minutes and we will get to that. And I think this is a perfect time to bring in our special guests. Our special guest today knows a little bit about procurement, about contracting, and about acquisitions. Derrick, who is the Director of Small Business Programs for the Naval Air Warfare Center Weapons Division, also known as NAWCWD. Yes, NAWCWD is one of my favorite acronyms. But that's the Naval Air Warfare Center Weapons Division at China Lake out here in the Ridgecrest area. And they have a special program going on today that has been going on. We've talked about it the last few weeks that it was coming up. And Derrick here is to give you a little recap of what's gone on these last 2 days at the CCAP, the California Contracts, Acquisitions, and Procurement Industry Days event. Derrick, thank you for joining us. Let me stop the share and bring it over to you.
Hey, thank you, Kelly. Good afternoon, everyone. As Kelly mentioned, I'm here at the California Contracting / Acquisition / Procurement event. And this is in Ridgecrest, California, where we talk about NAWCWD and all of our upcoming procurements. We have what they call a long-range acquisition forecast, which consists of about 30 upcoming requirements that's going to be placed in the next 3 years or so. And this is part of what we do for outreach with our base is we talk about different things and different topics. And this year's theme is more of the energetics topic. And we had a bunch of speakers for the last 2 days. And today, which is the Wednesday agenda, is more about NAWCWD and some of the programs and just information for people that are interested in doing procurement, how they can do business with us, and all the upcoming requirements that's coming up. And this afternoon, so we're in a lunch break right now, this afternoon, we are going to have about 80 of our personnel, which spans from procurement to our technical requiring activities, are going to be present here at the event to talk to industry. Right now, they're doing it on a lunch break, but right about 1 o'clock to about 4 o'clock, we're going to have one-on-one conversations and exhibits. So we have a whole exhibit center that's going on, and we're going to be interfacing with a lot of our industry partners. The thing that we're trying to focus on this year is innovation, and what are you going to do to bring innovation into the fold, not just on our upcoming requirements. So we want to hear different things with our technology and how can you bring innovation into our technology. So it's a wonderful event, and hopefully once you get started with your small business and you are ready to do business with the federal government, which is the biggest bureaucracy there is on the planet, then these are the events that you need to come to where you have that one-on-one opportunity. And for our base, it's very secure, so there's no way that you're going to be getting on station. So these events are your opportunity to do business with us and to meet us one-on-one to get that personal exchanges done. So hopefully next year around this time, we will see you if you're ready to do business with the government. And thank you so much, Kelly, for having me on.
Well, it's a great partnership we've had over the years, Derrick, and I really appreciate you being available for this and this event. I do have one question. So when we talk about the 30 opportunities that are coming up, what is the approximate dollar value of those 30? Do you know off the top of your head?
If you're looking at the total contracting value estimate, you're talking close to about $2.5 billion usually. It depends yearly, but the total estimated value, you're talking in the billions. So we do a lot of business here. traditional spend for us at NAWCWD is about $1.4 billion per year. And interestingly enough, we do about close to 30% to small business. So there's a lot of opportunities for small business.
Yeah, and Derrick's here to assist small businesses. And I did, when I looked at the long range acquisition forecast, I think it's called the LRAF.
LRAF.
For the acronym. There are some designated small business projects that are only open towards small businesses. And there are other ones that are going to be larger and prime contractors that are looking for small businesses to work with. I said it yesterday at this conference. I've never seen a period of time, I've never thought there was a period of time more when larger businesses need to work with small businesses.
Well, Kelly, the thing about small business, and I talked about it this morning, is I asked all the large primes to raise their hand. And the reason why I asked them is because small businesses can see a lot of the newer small businesses, they don't have the opportunity to do prime contracts. And how are you going to get your relevant experience and past performance? You're going to get it through subcontracting. And a lot of our major primes, all of them, I should say, have what they call subcontracting statutory goals. And this is by statute. So we have to have a proportion of their spend to small businesses, just like what we oversee at our organization. So there's a lot of opportunity, and that's why they need to know, or small businesses need to know how to market to large primes as well. So there are a lot of opportunity all around.
Yeah, there is. So thank you for coming by. The event is sponsored by the Ridgecrest Visitors Bureau, and the base participates, and it's great to be working with both of them again this year. Had a great time out here. And thank you, Derrick. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Very
Anytime.
helpful.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move along. Get my slides going again. And so what is up today, February the 5th? So as you see, we're going to be talking about small business contracting opportunities. And a lot of these opportunities we're going to explore are that they're happening here today are going to be happening right here in front of us. We'll jump into our regular feature, our capital quarter. We're going to be talking a little bit about funding this procurement. And one of the things that, of course, I look at is, okay, you're going to go get a grant. You're going to get a contract. You're going to actually need to perform on that contract. How are you going to fund it? And oftentimes funding does create problems. So I'll cover that real quick today. The economic corner, we'll just make it a real quick one. As you see, we're kind of going on with some trade wars, and we're getting a lot of questions on how this is going to impact what's going on in the world today. How is it going to impact the economy on down the road? And, you know, that's something for our resident economists to address, and it's going to take time for a lot of this stuff. So we don't really have any quick answers for a lot of these things that are going on, but we do know that there are now tariffs on 3 countries. And if you actually receive product from those countries, you're going to probably be seeing increases in price. And that is going to really take form in the form of those tariffs. So also, we're going to give a quick update on the Burrell and SoCal fires. We're pretty much limited this now to our economic injury disaster lending, which is a little bit different. Are more from the China Lake CCAP industry days. We did have more, but you just got it. You got Derrick Hu, the Director of Small Business Programs, on base for NAWCWD. We'll have some news and some information, limited format today. We'll take your questions. So please put your questions in the Q&A box. If you have any questions at all, Maureen will be working our chat box. Our producer, Maureen Busher-Dang, will be working the chat box today. And there'll be a lot of the resources we talk about ending up in the chat. So they're there for you. And also, I know this is a couple of weeks in a row now. I'm bad. I'm turning bad on you. There is no poll today, but we'll get that going again maybe next week. So we talked a little bit about disaster and recovery, and I just really want to focus now that the Burrell fire, the physical damage part has closed. We're only looking at the number 2 box, the economic injury loans. And that, again, is businesses that have had their businesses harmed, particularly their cash flow. So what this is a working capital loan to provide cash flow to keep their business going until that injury goes away. And oftentimes that can be a disruption with customers. It can be a disruption with vendors. It can be a disruption with potentially even the government for that matter. So there are other ways, but it comes down to two loans that are really on the business side of things that we're going to be talking about moving forward. And the injury disaster loan is one of those. So again, there's very favorable terms. We look at 30-year terms at about 4%. And again, it's to keep a business that has been injured because of a natural disaster, an SBA claim disaster, and is available to provide you with economic relief in the form of working capital loans. So we hit our economic corner, and now it's time for Capital Quarter, a regular feature here on Webinar Wednesday. And we're going to hit those funding for contracting and also mention a little bit on our particular Capital Summit. So to go over this list quite quickly, I am running out of time. I know you're not surprised. But there's a lot of different loan and equity options to fund procurement and contracts. The thing you have to remember about contracts with the government and acquisitions, at least the stereotype is that they are going to be paid slower than your other invoices that you put out there. So oftentimes you're on the hook for providing labor and material and also a lot of other costs that go into that particular contract. So you could be on the hook for several months and it takes you a while maybe to get paid. Hopefully you have an adequate margin, profit margin built into that particular bid. And then that could actually help you to maybe get a credit line or a line of credit, which is a really good tool to use. Or even look at actually getting permanent working capital, getting additional working capital, knowing you're going to need that cushion in order to actually do these particular aspects. Also, we have invoice purchase order financing. That's a popular one for short-term uses. And the short-term uses on the invoice purchase order financing is oftentimes going to be pretty much a 1 or 2 time issue in order to get paid quickly, to maybe meet a payroll, to maybe meet a vendor or something else. We also have strategic partnerships that we talked about out here with smaller and larger businesses, strategic partnerships, particularly with a funding partner, an excellent way to actually produce that. We also looked into joint ventures and acquisitions, some licensing, some IP, for example, for some of the assets. The SBIR and STTR, the Small Business Innovation Research Grants, and the technology transfer that will be talked about also not only today here in Ridgecrest, but also tomorrow at our Capital Summit, which is coming up next, and also private-public partnerships. And yes, after the 2-day event here in China Lake, we are going to be here live in Ridgecrest with many dozen financing and funding opportunities for new and existing businesses. That'll be free of charge, of course, at the California Welcome Center in Ridgecrest. Space is limited and filling up quickly, so you definitely want to register if you can attend, and that'll be tomorrow from 8 to 12 here in Ridgecrest. So the SBA the SBA is here, but the SBDC, never done that before. Okay, today anyway. But the SBDC tools are here to assist your businesses succeed. If you're a client of the SBDC, no cost obligation, of course. You receive no cost advising from experienced and seasoned professionals, but also a variety of other tools that you see there, ranging from our live plan business planning to everything from generational transitional planning. If you're looking to transition away in your business, for example, we have just the resource for you, along with dozens of other resources. So really a great benefit for being a client of the SBDC, in addition to the no-cost advising from a senior seasoned professional. Our CSUB YouTube is where our webinars go to live, we like to say. So at this time, we're getting up close to 500 subscribers. Would love if you would subscribe, get a notification of when this webinar will be on YouTube if you want to rewatch it, or see any of our other 286 videos that are on our YouTube channel. There's a free human resource hotline available for employers. This is throughout the San Joaquin Valley and the Sierra Foothills and the Eastern Sierra region. Central Coast, also represented. So you can see which county you're located in those particular regions and call a specific number and get assistance from the California Employers Association at no cost. And this is brought to you by a lot of the workforce development boards throughout America's job centers. Thank you for providing this vital service. If you have any other information, you can contact us and sign up for services on our website at csubsbdc.com. We'll get an email that you're wanting to talk to one of our advisors. Do sign up, meet with an advisor, get access to all those particular tools. And it's time to bring in our today's special guest. And our special guest is Josh Howk. And he joins us as the newest business opportunity specialist for the SBA Fresno District Office. He earned his undergraduate degree from Cal State Fresno. Well, you can only dream to be a runner, okay? That slip does occur. But to all my friends at CSUF, it was unintentional. He also received an MBA from the University of Illinois. I don't mess with him because he's a Six Sigma black belt and has all the process improvement and numerous other professional associations that go with that. After spending 6 years across 3 countries in the U.S. Air Force, thank you for your service. He further served his community as a business outreach liaison for the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprises with the state of California. His diverse experiences and dedication to empowering business make him a great asset throughout the Fresno SBA district, all 14 counties and the communities they serve. Joshua, it's great to have you joining us today. Thank you so much, and take it away.
Kelly, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for the introduction as well, too. For those of you who are attending who might be seeing me for the first time, my name is Joshua Howk. I am that business opportunity specialist for the SBA's Fresno District Office. I want you to do me a favor. No matter if you are taking notes the old-fashioned way, pen and paper, or if you're taking a screenshot, I definitely want you to take down my contact information because at the end of the day, there's always people behind government programs. And I want you to have someone where if you are looking for assistance with your business, maybe you're looking for assistance in starting in procurement, at least for Central California, you now know a guy. And we service all the way from the Central Coast to the Eastern Sierras as well, too. So if you contact me, I promise one of 2 things is going to happen. One, I'm going to try and track down the information that you're looking for, or with the wonderful circle of friends that I have, including the good company with all of our SBDCs, I'm going to point you in the right direction of someone who has more information for you as well, too. I'm really, really happy because today we get to talk about something that's really interesting for businesses and sometimes something that people overlook, but that's government procurement. And I know Derrick mentioned it earlier. Hold on a second, let me advance the slide here. Derrick mentioned that the US government is actually the largest purchaser of goods and services in the world. In the last fiscal year that we have data on, which is fiscal year 23, the government had a goal of spending 23% of contracting dollars with small businesses, and they knocked that out of the park. They ended up spending 28.4% of contracting dollars with small businesses. And in real world numbers, that's $178.6 billion spent with small businesses. Now, there are some folks out there who might be thinking, oh, that's just for big cities and that's just for spots away from here. But I want to provide some facts that might hit a little closer to home. In the county that we're in right now, $105.2 million in that same fiscal year was spent on small businesses. And in the counties that our district office oversees, $842.5 million was actually spent with small businesses. So I don't want you to go into making decisions about entering procurement without really making data-driven decisions. It's all about, is this a good option for your business? Is this a good option for you to branch out and to look at expanding? There are also folks out there who might think that, hey, maybe this is only for one type of customer. Maybe it's only big military purchases being made out there. And I want you to know there's all sorts of purchases that are being made in order to support government operations. I like to use an example for for people looking at this for the first time, and I really outline the VA. This is information that is directly from the pathfinder.va.gov site. And I know you can read that blurb to the side over there, but it really illustrates just how many services are necessary to support operations out there. Of course, when you think of the VA, you probably think about VA hospitals or care facilities, but there's also IT services that are needed, professional services that are needed, logistics, travel, office management, human capital, security. There are so many things that it takes to keep us up and running. And it's really something that you should keep in mind, because there might be a way for you to support the government by making them a customer. And it's really something you should consider. So before you go out and say, yes, this is what I should do, no, this is what I shouldn't do, take a look. So for instance, again, we talked about people thinking about hospitals and care facilities. From fiscal years 2020 to 2023, it was estimated $4 billion a year was spent for medical services as well too. So if you're in that industry, you can see that there's a clear demand for that as well. But it's not just, again, about medical services. You could be looking at other services as well too. For example, if you're looking at transportation and logistics, that's $2.4 billion that was spent in total obligation over those last 4 years. And we're talking vehicles, we're talking transportation, we're talking package delivery. It's all about what that organization needs. Another example, of course, office management products and services, something you might not think about with the VA. They spent $804 million in total obligation for the last 4 years, according to the site. So again, it's not about what you think, it's about making those data-driven decisions to see if this is a good fit for your business. I always like to say that this is something that you should be asking yourself along with a plethora of questions that are out there. First and foremost, you should be asking, does the government buy what your business provides? And I want you to think about that in an expanding way too. So think about the scope of those purchases that happen as well too. Are they making a very large purchase maybe one time? Maybe they make periodic purchases. Is this something that is sustainable for your business? You want to think about the frequency that goes into that as well too. You also want to ask yourself, are you prepared for this in terms of experience? I know that Derrick mentioned subcontracting as well too, which is a wonderful opportunity to build that experience, but you could also look at contracting at a local or municipal level. You could look at contracting from a state level to build that experience so that you know that when you get into this, that you are fully prepared and ready. Of course, another factor that comes into asking, are you capable, is are you fully prepared for the scope of a government contract? It can cost $80,000 to $130,000 to execute a government contract for the first time. Some businesses that are out there have spent 2 years preparing for their first government contract. So you want to make sure that you are prepared for that. And last but not least, you want to know, hey, where should I go for market research? Where should I go to find the opportunities that are out there right now? And no matter what happens, the first step in that conversation is SAM.gov. SAM, of course, stands for the System of Award Management, and it is the primary system for contracting with the federal government. I like to think of it as split up into 4 sections. So the first section, when you go in there, it's going to ask for core data. So think about your demographic info. The second section is going to be assertions. So that's going to be where you disclose what your business does and the size of your business. You're going to have an opportunity for the third section to input information on representation and certifications out there as well too, which might give you an advantage in doing business with the federal government. And of course, the government is going to want to know the points of contact that they're working with as well too. One other thing to keep in mind is it also holds the contract opportunities portal. So this is where you can find general and advanced searches for contracts, and those are generally over $25,000. And I highly advise when you're looking at this website to do a deep dive into this, to really see what's out there and where you might fit in with this ecosystem. And as a bonus point on that too, I always say don't do this alone. You are out there, you can do this with a team to help you look at this information. I know we're here today with one of our resource partners as well too, but the SBA actually funds over 1,400 resource partners nationwide. So at the end of the day, if you are looking to make decisions on whether or not entry into government procurement is right for you, I'm telling you, this is the spot to go. You can find SBDCs, you can find local SCORE offices, you can find VBOX, you can find women business centers that are out there. But I'm telling you, as a person who works very much with our SBDCs out here, if you are here, definitely talk with them. They provide top-notch assistance services for these types of questions. Now, if you're hearing this and you've taken a look at all of those sites and you're saying, hey, this might be something that I'm looking into, you might want to ask yourself, first of all, am I a small business by SBA size standards? And if so, what type of small business am I? And I know the question of if you're a small business is a complicated question, right? The government recognizes that what would be a small business for a business that's creating parts for an F-35 aircraft might be different than a business that is creating agricultural parts or a business that's a law firm. And they determine that based off of NAICS codes. NAICS stands for North American Industry Classification System, and it's just a series of digits that lets the government know what industry that you're in. Now, I want to bring up a couple of really good points. First of all, if you're worried about if you are going to be considered a small business, I want you to remember that for manufacturing firms, if you have 500 employees or fewer, you will likely be seen as a small business by SBA size standards. And if you're a non-manufacturing business with gross annual receipts of 7.5 million or less, you will likely be seen as a small business by SBA size standards. But if you are looking to find out 100%, the SBA does have a size standards tool where you can go in, where you can put that information in, and it will cross-reference that with the industry that you're in, and it will give you more information on whether or not you are likely considered a small business or a large business. And that is something I definitely recommend checking out. Again, you want to ask yourself what type of small business you are too, because there are different types that are outlined and demonstrated by certifications that are given by the government as well too. We have multiple programs that I'll talk about a little bit more bit by bit, but the government has a goal of spending 5% of contracting dollars with 8A firms, with women-owned small businesses, with a subcategory on that as well too of economically disadvantaged women-owned small businesses. There are businesses that are out there that are in historically underutilized business zones, and the government has a goal of spending 3% of contracting dollars with those businesses. And there's a goal of spending 3% of contracting dollars with veteran-owned small businesses as well too. So if you are curious about that and you're looking for more information, and I promise we'll get to this in future slides as well too, you can definitely find more information on certifications.sba.gov. It's something that I highly recommend, and we'll talk about why in a few upcoming slides. But to go into a little more detail on the certifications that are out there, the AA certification is available for some small businesses who can demonstrate social and economic disadvantage. And it's a 9-year program, so it's not an ongoing certification that lasts forever, but it is a 9-year program that is designed to help provide different avenues of growth through government contracts. It allows businesses to build capacity. It allows them to really bolster their business and grow in different directions. It also comes with business support that is provided from the SBA as well too. So if you have questions on that, definitely hit us up. We have more information on that for you as well too. And I'm going to show you where to find some of that as well in upcoming slides. There's also the women-owned small business and, of course, the economically disadvantaged women-owned small business certifications as well, too. Those are certifications for businesses that are small by SBA size standards that are owned by at least 51% women-owned small businesses. So, again, owned by women that help people look at procurement instead of a very large pond into a slightly smaller pond that is specifically set aside for folks with that certification as well. There are HUBZone certifications, which again, historically underutilized business zones. So if your business is in a spot which may have been, I don't know, not necessarily used as much for business operations, you can get a certification that helps increase your business by giving access to set-aside contracts for HUBZone certified businesses. Another fun fact with HUBZone certifications are There's a 10% price evaluation preference in full and open contract competitions as well too. So a different type of contracting. So this is a very valuable certification to have. And of course, you can still use the certification and compete for contract awards under other socioeconomic programs that you would qualify for if you qualify for other certifications. If you are curious on whether or not your business might be in a hub zone, we have access to a map tool right here too, and I'm sure we can send out the link for that, but that can also be found on SBA.gov. And it should be noted that the business has to be in a hub zone, but also 35% of the employees have to be in a hub zone. Fun fact with that, they don't have to be in the same hub zone too. So you can have the business in one hub zone and then the employees in another, and it would still meet those criteria. So definitely something to check out if you think that your business might meet those standards. Of course, there are certifications for veteran-owned small businesses, specifically the SDVOSB as well too. That's controlled by 51% or more veterans. And for the SDVOSB, that has to be controlled by 51% or more service-connected disabled veterans as well too. The good news is for that rating, it's at 0%. So if you have something that is connected, that would still count towards the criteria of that certification. So that's a lot to take in, and I'm sure that there are a lot of questions that come up in terms of, well, okay, are there more requirements? Are there more things that I should be looking at in terms of certifications? Let me ask about specific details about my business. And I always like referring people, because I think this is one of the best sites to cover things like that, to the new MySBA Certifications site. Before, SBA used to use a site called Certify, which was an okay site, but you had to apply for each individual certification that you were interested in individually. Sometimes it meant duplication of paperwork. Sometimes it meant just a lot of extra work. Now it's a one-stop shop. So think if you have a document that's applicable to multiple certifications that you're interested in, it's just uploading that once, and then it will go across all the certifications that you're looking to obtain. For those who are looking for it, again, that's certifications.sba.gov. I highly recommend checking it out because it's got a lot of useful tools. And too often people are intimidated by government processes. And I want to take a moment to showcase just how simple this can be. I don't know if you remember from like the mid-2010s, those BuzzFeed quizzes on like, hey, which Harry Potter house are you, or anything like that. But I'm telling you, a lot of these processes are very similar to that in terms of showcasing the operations of your business and how you would fit in. As an example, this is what will come up with the MySBA Certifications homepage. And if you're curious on, hey, maybe I should look into certifications a little bit more, I would click on the Should I Apply tile. Right there, you will see the Find Out button. And when you click on that, it really just brings up a small segment of information that you can provide to show where you might fit in. It's going to ask you, do you own 51% or more of your business? What is your gender? Are you claiming social disadvantage? Because I know we talked about the 8A certification, so you can see how that fits into different certifications. All of these are questions that line up for qualifying for different certifications. We are the U.S. Small Business Administration, so it's going to ask if you're a U.S. citizen, and it's also going to ask if you're a veteran. Now, once you put in that information, you have the opportunity to put in, again, I know we talked about it before, but a NAICS code or a keyword for a good or service that your business provides. And as you can see, when you put that in, not only will it tell you if it appears that the federal government buys what you sell, again, keep in mind scope, quantity, purchase history, things along those lines. A lot of market research should go into this. But it also shows how much was awarded for that particular code back in fiscal year 23 in the bottom right-hand corner of that. So check it out. It's a really cool thing to see, like, hey, this is where my business might match up with, providing goods and services to the federal government. It's going to ask again, is your business generating revenue? Which of course is a very important question. Again, it can take some time and some, financial stability to really tackle a government contract for the first time. So is your business generating revenue? We definitely need to know. Does your business have a track record of delivering quality goods and services on time and within budget? Again, something very important for the federal government. The DoD really emphasizes this as well too, but can you invoice and receive payments electronically? This is really important and a requirement for doing business with some departments as well. So keep that in mind. And of course, can you cover your costs? So you're talking personnel, purchasing of equipment, things along those lines, because again, there is that cost that can be associated with government contracting. I know we covered it before, but is your business located in the US? Is your business located in a hub zone? And again, you can find that information on SBA.gov, but there's also a button further on in this process that you can find that out too. Do you believe that 35% of your employees reside in a hub zone? And again, that's to match you up with that certification. Are you registered with SAM.gov, which I know we brushed on before? Are you under financial limits? And I know those can lead to some questions, but the general idea when you click that blue question mark circle there is, do you have a personal net worth, which is assets minus liabilities of under 850,000 or under? Do you have a 3-year average income of 400,000 or less? And is the fair market value of all your assets 6.5 million or less? So that can come into play in terms of certifications as well. Of course, they want to make sure that what you're asking or what you're providing is what they're asking for, and you can back it up with the paperwork. So they're going to ask for financial statements. And of course, they want to make sure that you're in good standing with the federal government because they want to do business with folks they can trust. When you answer all of these questions, you'll see that this page brings up every single certification that you might qualify for. And it'll provide more information on next steps in terms of applying for it and really going forward in the process. There's a couple of points that I want to bring up on this slide. The prepare for application tile will give more information on the documents you need to compile so that you can really make this a streamlined process where you can answer those questions and then upload those documents and then be ready to roll. Also, I know we talked about HUBZone. There's another link for the calculator on there as well too. And I know it's on the main page as well too for my SBA certification. So definitely check that out. If you have been looking into this, another thing that I always recommend folks to check out is something called the dynamic small business search. And let's say that you've gone through, you put your business in SAM.gov, you have looked through and obtained certifications, or maybe you're in the process of. I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of a government buyer. If there was a database to search for businesses out there based off of industry codes, where you could review past performance, where you could review bonding information, where you could see narratives that were provided directly from businesses, you'd probably use that to help determine how you would purchase goods and services. And again, that's part of what the dynamic small business search is. It is one of those tools that shows the landscape of businesses out there that can provide goods and services to the government. And it makes sure that there's an adequate landscape to get what we need. Now, one of the tools that I talk about is making sure that the info across SAM.gov and in this database is updated as well too. So if you're in SAM.gov, make sure that you're in DSBS as well too. Make sure that information is accurate across both platforms because that's something that's going to give you a competitive edge. And I want to show you kind of what might be seen by someone who's looking at DSBS. You can see here there's information about the names of firms, points of contact, addresses, emails. You'll see under their capabilities narrative. This is something where businesses can say, hey, this is what we do. This is what we're really strong at. And you see all those blank spaces that are there. That's something that you can put in as well. And again, it gives you that competitive edge. So I highly recommend making sure, again, that information is in both systems and that it is standardized across both platforms. Now, I want to pivot because I recognize that the SBA does a lot too, but another thing that the SBA does is it helps provide assistance during disasters as well. And I know California is no stranger to disasters, right? We've had wildfires, we've had floods, we've had earthquakes, and there is a one-stop spot to see whether or not a disaster has been declared by the SBA where you might be able to find resources which can help you recover. So for those who are looking for more information on that, I highly recommend checking out the disaster declaration search. And the website is, of course, right there as well. But from there, you can search by state and by county, and you can see, hey, this is where this is at. I need assistance with my business. I need assistance with recovering with my home, things along those lines. And you can find more tools to help you go forward in the process. For those who are out there with the Los Angeles fires as well too, I want you to know that there are other tools for folks out there that are known as disaster loan outreach centers. And we've actually opened up 2 extra in the Los Angeles area. One is in Los Angeles County and one is in Ventura County. But this is a spot where people can either make appointments online at appointment.sba.gov, or they can do walk-ins. And eligible small businesses and nonprofits can apply for physical disaster loans. And those, again, go up to $2 million to repair or replace disaster damaged or destroyed real estate, equipment, inventory, other business assets. Homeowners that are out there and renters are eligible to apply for home and personal property loans. And that's, I think it's $100,000 for clothing, furniture, cars, appliances. For homeowners, I think it's $500,000 to repair or replace a primary residence. And what makes those so special is interest rates can be as low as, again, 4% for small businesses, 3.625 for private nonprofits, 2.563 for homeowners and renters. So these are very competitive rates. And I know Kelly has touched on this too, and he provides wonderful resources too. So if you are affected by that, please reach out to us. I will say as a disclaimer that the SBA does set loan amounts and terms based off of each applicant's financial condition. So please check out the SBA website out there for more information, and definitely keep up with us on our socials as well too. I know our LinkedIn page provides more information on that too. So I want to emphasize also, this is a lot of information to take in, and I am one part of a small but mighty team out there. If for some reason you took down my contact information, but you can't get in touch with me, we do have an entire district office that's dedicated to providing information for you or pointing you in the right direction of the professionals who can. If you are looking for the website for our district office, it is right there as well as our general phone line, the email that goes to everyone, and our LinkedIn page too, which is going to have some fantastic updates as things occur. So definitely keep that in mind. We have events, we have webinars, we have awesome times where we partner up with SBA powered resource partners such as SBDCs. So be on the lookout for those pages as well too. With that said, I very much I've been so happy to join with you today. Please make sure you've got my contact information. I'm sure it'll be put into the chat. But if you have any questions, any comments, anything that we can provide assistance with, do not hesitate to reach out. We are very much here for you. With that said, I'm going to join Kelly here, and we'll take questions and probably talk about a few more things as well too.
Yeah, fantastic information there, Josh. Thank you so much. So here's your opportunity to get your questions answered from Josh. You can go to the Q&A box and please enter a question there, and we will go through those those questions at this time. So let's see what we have, Josh. Good afternoon. Confirm we will receive the slide deck via email. Well, thank you for the compliment. And yes, you will be receiving the slide deck via email. Generally, those that sign up every week will receive a copy of the recording. You'll also get the resources that are all in the chat box. And many of those are hyperlinked also to where you can jump right into it. So, you know, it depends on a little bit on Zoom and a little bit on our workload as well, but you should be getting that in just a few days. How does this new certification platform differ from legacy?
That is a great question. I understand that folks who have been dealing with Certify before transferring over to MySBA Certifications have had, I don't want to call them issues because it's not something that stops the process, but it's something that might slow down that process. The concept of having to input information repeatedly, to have to apply for one certification at a time. What I think is probably the primary point of separation between the two products is that this really is a one-stop shop. Where you go in and where you answer questions about your business, it will go in and ask for information, and it will ask for documents. And once you do that, it will allow you to take that information and move that across all the certifications that you would be eligible for. So in terms of how it's different, it's just an easier program to work with. And if you are having trouble with that, we do have points of contact to walk people through. It's a much easier process and a much smoother system to work in. So I also see another question. Oh, can you repeat the question? No, sorry. I don't want to take away from the Q&A section here, but
Well, just summarize your answer that you just gave in summary.
Yeah, so in summary, it's a smoother website. It is something where you're not having to constantly input information and then input it again and then input it again. It's a one-stop shop. It's a hub for resources. It's a hub for how-tos. You can find information in terms of pretty much the documents that are required, the process that you're going to go through. I have seen people upload documents in the old one, and then I've seen boxes for narratives and other things in the new one. And I'm just, as a person who's seen both sides of the fence, I think you're going to be impressed with my SBA certifications. Yeah.
Okay, you have it in Word. You're going to be impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question, Alicia. How long does the certification process take nowadays?
That is a fantastic question. And I hate to give this type of answer, but it really does depend on the information from the business. So there are so many different factors and so many different variables that might go into that I can't really give a standard answer on that. But if you are having questions with it, there are support organizations that help with that. Of course, you've got SBDCs that are out there. Also, there are organizations like Apex who look at government procurement and contracting through that lens, who have been in those systems repeatedly. So there's a lot of resources out there if you are saying like, hey, this might be taking too long, or is this the average time? Talk with your team, build your circle, and then make sure that you are in constant communication with both them and with the communication lines that we provide as well too.
Okay. Nate asks, and thanks for joining, Nate. Is there any update regarding what lenders will be participating in the new SBA 7A pilot program? That's the one for lines of credits made to small businesses. And, I've been asking that question a lot myself, Nate. And what I'm finding out is that they're few and far in between these days, but all we have to do is find one. And there are lenders that are doing it. The issue is that obviously with, well, not obviously, but with an SBA 7A loan, oftentimes lenders will actually resell those loans. So whereas home loans are resold, same thing happens in business loans. And the very nature of lines of credit make those very difficult, if not impossible, to package and resell for lenders. So there are some out there. I will keep you, I'll keep up to date if we can find one for us to work with here in California. And it is a great project and a great program for those that are looking to fund procurement. There's nothing better than a nice line of credit. And if it's one from the SBA, even better. So we'll keep that going forward.
Yeah. Alicia, I see you repeated your question as well too, to re-emphasize that. Definitely work with the team that you've got. Again, wonderful resource partners who are out there to help bounce content that you might be providing for certifications, as well as the points of contact that we have for the MySBA certification site. I know that's in previous slides, so I know hopefully you'll be looking at the recording and finding that as well too. But if you have questions on that, contact me and I promise I can get you those points of contact as well.
Next question, does the SBA website outline what a socially and economic disadvantaged entrepreneur is? Is somebody just a small business eligible for government contracts?
So we get this question a lot. And one of the things that I always emphasize, well, there's two things that I emphasize with this. One, these are decisions that are made past our district office level. So it's not something that we get to make that judgment call on. This is something that's sent in through that site. But my advice to you, if you think that you would qualify for the 8A program, is to apply. When I've looked into the system for how they take in information on that for the MySBA certification site, it's very simple. It's very straightforward. And the worst thing that can happen is they can say, hey, you do qualify or you don't qualify. I always say, shoot the shot and let them make the call and see if your business aligns with that certification.
Great. Okay, next question is actually a comment. I'm a graduate of the 8A program, SBA program, and I'm telling you, having a trade show here at China Lake the last 2 days, sharing it with the gentleman on my right or my left, depending on how you're looking at this. He had a lot of 8A clients come up and say some very nice things, not only about SBA, but also about Joshua in particular and about how the program is working for their business. So the 8A program, I am seeing results of it all week long, it looks like. Anything to add?
Oh, no, I think that honestly, it is one of our programs that if you can get into it, there are a lot of really great things that come from it. So please don't hesitate to contact me if you think you might qualify. I know my contact information is in there as well too, and I'm happy to tell you more about the program and specifically hear more about your business and how the two might fit together. So definitely something please call me.
You got some great questions coming today. Let's continue. I recently opened a construction business and am looking to subcontract under a larger prime to gain the appropriate experience. Do you have any recommendations? Also, looking to market in disaster recovery areas, is there a place to see where the bidding in those areas are taking place?
Those are great questions. So let's see. I'm going to see if I can address it point by point. In terms of looking for spots to sub under prime contractors, there are resources and websites that I can provide. So I definitely ask that you contact me, and I can hopefully provide more links to those as well too. There's a lot of different points to find information like that as well too. So it really is dependent on the connection that you're looking for. When it comes to recommendations for looking to possibly help assist in disaster recovery areas, I like to ensure that the areas are able to speak for themselves as well too, to the needs that they have. But I have seen some requirements come down off of the FEMA site as well too. But I think the more important thing to look at with that is to talk with resource partners that are in the area that might have more insight onto what specifically is needed and what specifically is looked for in those spots. And again, I want to make sure that information comes from the places that can best articulate that, because they're there on the ground.
And also, it might not hurt to contact some insurance agencies, maybe look to see what insurance companies are really at risk in those particular areas, and maybe get a hold of some of their people. I imagine there's going to be a construction issue with the amount of damage that was done, the amount of rebuilding that needs to occur. And, there hasn't been a great deal of home construction going on in California as a state. So really, I think that it's going to be a great opportunity for you, Edward. And really, I would kind of look the insurance route and any other ways in order to find people who are looking. Okay, so that's it for our questions for now. What we'll do is we will move down and go through the chat box. I have time to go through the chat. Maybe there's a question or two in here as well. Okay, so after the greetings and salutations, you see how to sign up as an SBDC client. Also, information on the disaster relief. The East Kern Capital Summit, as I've been mentioning, is tomorrow. And actually, if you have a contracting question, Josh has agreed to stick around for tomorrow as well. And maybe present too, because that's the way he is. It's what he does. Yeah. So if you want to drive out to Ridgecrest from wherever you are, he'll be here, and you can get some great one-on-one directly there. There's his contact information, the MySBA certifications, also the SAM system for awards management, that is a requirement as well. And the slides will be presented. SBA does not share slides, even with me,
It's one of those things of, if you are looking for that level of assistance, contact us, where we want to provide one-on-one assistance to you to make sure that you get the best help that you can get.
But the recording will have every one of the slides in it. So yes, we are sharing the slides, at least from my definition of it. So there's the size standards, which SBA has different size standards to define small businesses, if you're a small business or a medium concern or what else. Also, the SBA HUBZone map is right there. So the HUBZone map, oh boy, you were busy today, Maureen. He had you really hopping. I can see the Google reviews. If you like today's program, go leave us a review on Google. We'd greatly appreciate that. The dynamic small business search. So if you see where there are other disasters, you can search by disaster. Also, a question.
Yeah.
Question. When you say small business help, does nonprofits get assistance as well?
Yes, I do want to emphasize that eligible small businesses and nonprofits can apply for those physical disaster loans that we're talking about. And those are up to $2 million, again, to repair or replace disaster damaged or destroyed real estate, equipment, inventory, or other business assets. So if you are looking for more information on that, definitely reach out to the SBA points of contact, who can help tailor possibly what they can provide more to your specific needs. So,
and in the SBDC the consulting is for for-profit businesses. However, I apply a little bit of latitude toward small businesses. For example, if you have a small business that is that works with businesses, economic development, workforce development, if tourism is big in your county, if it's a tour-related project. So if I can tie it back somehow to benefits from a local economy, from economic development pursuits or others, yes, we can work with you. And I think that is about it. You're welcome, and we are having a great day. So thanks for that.
Can I just take a moment and shout out Maureen right there for all of the links she put into the chat too? That is fantastic. Seriously, thank you so much.
And one last look at see if something snuck in the Q&A, and nothing did. And so we are done. We are done with webinar Wednesday number 334. I'd like to thank my special guest and week-long companion, Joshua Howk. And also a big shout out to Derrick, a veteran of Webinar Wednesday. Shout out to Derrick as well and thank him. So for Derrick and for Maureen and for Josh, I'm Kelly Bearden. We'll be back next week with Webinar Wednesday number 335. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.